Guys, this book, like not everything is rainbows, sunshine, and butterflies. It's so cool! What is going on? I'm so confused. Hello my sweet friends, welcome back. I am so excited to be filming this video today because today we're going to be doing another 24-hour readathon. I haven't done one in a few months. I used to do them every month, and for the last couple months I just haven't had the time or haven't had the chance, but I don't really have a lot of plans over the next few days, so I thought it would be the perfect time to film this video. I'm going to be using the timer method for today's readathon, which is basically just where I start and stop the timer, and I only count the time where I'm actually reading, so this will probably span over a few days rather than just like a 24-hour period. I do have a few objectives and goals going into this readathon, which I don't usually have when I do these readathons, but let me explain. Currently when I'm filming this, it is the 17th of August, so we are just over halfway through the month, and this month I am taking part in the MS Readathon, which means I'm raising money for people with multiple sclerosis. I'll leave my link down below to my little profile where you can read more about it, but I'm reading as many books as I possibly can this month and asking people to donate and sponsor me through that so that I can raise money to help and support people with MS, which is a really debilitating illness. And I am so thankful and so excited to be taking part in this challenge. However, it is definitely a challenge, and my goal at the beginning of this month was to read 20 books, and I don't really ever go into a month being like, I'm gonna read this many books, because I do think sometimes it can take the fun out of it. And to me, reading is not about how much you're reading, but how much fun you're having. So normally I don't go in with a goal, but because I do have people sponsoring me and donating, I want to be just doing as much as I possibly can for this MS Readathon. And so, like I said, my goal is 20 books. However, I am a little bit behind schedule. I'm looking up at my little tracker. I have read 9 books this month, which means I have 13 days to read 11 books. So that's kind of the main objective, but the other things I'd love to focus on during this readathon is 1, working on my monthly TBR, because so far this month I've only read 3 books from my TBR. So I'd love to get through a few more of those. And the other thing that I'd love to work on is just working on my physical TBR, because it has been growing recently and it's starting to get to the point where I'm getting a little overwhelmed by it. So if we can just get those numbers down a little bit, read a few on my physical TBR, I think I'll be feeling a lot better. So quickly, let's talk about the books that I'm in the middle of currently. The first one is This Time It's Real by Anne Liang. This is a YA romance, and so far it is so cute. I started it yesterday. I'm already 200 pages in. It is literally the most fun, quick, most wholesome little romance. It's a fake dating trope, and it's just so cute. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And the other one that I am in the middle of is Foul Lady Fortune. This is also so good, and I'm also about 200 pages into this one. So I'm not quite halfway through this one yet, but both of these are on my monthly TBR, which is stunning. So I think I'm gonna jump back into This Time It's Real to start off this readathon. It is currently 8:20 a.m. and I do have a few plans today, but I have a few hours before I need to do any of that. So let's try and get a bit of reading done. And I guess let's start our timer. So I'm currently 200 pages into this book, and I think it's about 340 pages. We're following our main character, Eliza, and she decided to write this blog post about her love life, and it was completely made up. She just wrote about basically like what her ideal relationship would be like and the romantic dates they would go on and how this guy would treat her. And she posted it, she went to sleep, she woke up, and it had gone viral. There had been articles written about her blog post by like BuzzFeed and all of those sorts of things, and everyone was freaking out over it, just being like, this made me believe in love again, like this is so sweet, this is so cute, I want a love like this. And she was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I totally made this up. But now all of these people have these like expectations and hopes in me, and also an opportunity comes up and it's a dream for her, but in order to take the opportunity, she needs to somehow make it look like she's actually living this life that she wrote about in her blog post, and make it look like she's living in this relationship that she wrote about. And so she manages to find a guy who is going to be her fake boyfriend, and they kind of strike up a deal. And so now they're fake dating, and that's kind of where we're at in the story. Eliza is starting to actually catch feelings, as I'm sure you could guess, and she's kind of just trying not to. Like, she's kind of doing everything in her power to not catch feelings and not let her crush like grow. But yeah, so far this is just really cute, really sweet, just really light-hearted and fun. But of course I'm over the halfway mark, so I'm sure there's going to be some sort of conflict soon. I'm wondering if people are going to like figure out that she's been faking it the whole time, and I'm wondering what she's going to do about it. So I'm going to try and get a chunk of this done. Like I mentioned, it is such a fast read. I don't know why, but I'm just like plowing through this. So I think it's perfect for a 24-hour readathon, honestly. I have about 50 pages left and things are starting to go wrong. But I am definitely really enjoying this. This is so cute and so fun. I think if you're a hopeless romantic and you love YA romance, I think you'd really enjoy this. It feels very YA. Like, I feel like sometimes you read YA and you're like, oh, it just felt kind of like a normal romance. Like, yes, obviously the characters were a bit younger and maybe it was a little bit more wholesome, but like overall it just felt like whatever, pretty normal. But this one definitely does feel like YA. Like, the main character is very awkward. She doesn't really know what she's doing. It is a bit cringy at times, but it's cute. I like it. I finished This Time It's Real and this was so fun. There's just something so good about YA romance. Like, I do have to be in the mood, I think, to read it, but when I am in the mood, they just hit. I also think the last like 100 pages of this was like really good. Like, I don't know what really changed, but I was underlining things, I was giggling. Maybe it was just that I got like attached to the characters by that point. I'm not sure if the actual like story was significantly better, but yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. I honestly think I'm gonna give it like 4 stars. Like, it was just fun. It didn't give me 5-star feelings, but I just had a really great time with it. So I think 4 stars feels right. As for a timer update, we have barely made a dent. We have read for like just over an hour. And obviously I'd already started this book, so I didn't like read a whole book in an hour. I only had like 100 and something pages. And I feel like I read this quicker than I read other books because it was just so bingeable. I don't know what it was, but yeah, it was just so easy to read. I feel like I don't normally read that fast. So next on my list is Fair Lady Fortune, because I've already started this one as well. I am really enjoying this so far. I think I'm enjoying it like the same amount that I enjoyed These Violent Delights and Our Violent Ends. I read those ones earlier in the month and I rated These Violent Delights 4 stars and Our Violent Ends like 4.25. They were really good. Like, they were way better than I was expecting them to be. I don't really know like what I expected, but I just really thoroughly enjoyed them. And a lot of people said to read those 2 before you go into this one, and I know some of you guys won't want to hear it, but I do have to agree with that. I'm glad you guys convinced me that I needed to read the other ones first, because this one here does follow a side character that was in the first 2 books, and whilst Chloe Gong herself says you don't need to read those ones to be able to read this, it definitely gives you so much more background. It makes going into this book so much easier because you already know what like the political situation is, you know, like the rivalries between different like gangs and whatever. It just makes it so much easier to go into this, and I'd recommend it because I feel like those books are really good as well. So it's like, why wouldn't you read them if they're good? If they weren't good, maybe I'd feel differently, but I think they're so worth the read. But yeah, this one has been really good so far. Our main character's name is Rosalind, but she works kind of like with the gangs and stuff under an alias, which is Fortune, but everyone calls her Lady Fortune. So that's kind of where the title comes from. And right now she is working with another guy who's like another secret spy type of guy. And they have been forced into a marriage of convenience, which is just like so fun. I love a marriage of convenience and like secret identities and like spies and like, I don't know, it's really, really fun. Also, our main character is just so like smart and cunning and like sassy, and I love main characters like that. I feel like we get a lot of female main characters in fantasy books that are just so freaking cool, and I love that. So yeah, this is a lot of fun so far, but obviously I'll keep reading, and of course I'll update you guys later. We are officially halfway to our monthly goal. Like I said, we're a little over halfway through the month, so I am a little bit behind, but hopefully this 24-hour readathon will get us back on track. It is now 6:06 p.m. and Liam and I are heading out to like our Bible study small group thing tonight. So I don't really think I'm gonna get any more reading done tonight. So I thought I'd give you like my update of the day. I honestly didn't read as much as I wanted to. I just ended up having a lot of stuff I had to get done. We did make a bit of progress though. So we're ending today's timer at 21 hours and 12 minutes. So I almost read for 3 hours, just under 3 hours, which that's definitely not bad. And obviously we did finish one book, but I had previously started that one. So it wasn't like I read that whole book. And I have made some progress with Foul Lady Fortune. I'm up to chapter 31, which is page 325. So I am over halfway now, and I don't really have any new feelings on this. I'm still really enjoying it. I still think it's a lot of fun, but I'm not like obsessed, and that's okay. But I will see you guys tomorrow, and hopefully we'll have like a huge reading day tomorrow because I don't think I have many plans. When I picked up my book to start reading this morning, I was just like, I'm not really in the mood for this right now. As you know, I'm in the middle of Foul Lady Fortune, but I just wasn't in the mood for like fast-paced action fantasy this morning. So I was like, oh, I'll pick up something else. I felt in the mood for a romance, so I decided to pick up Marriage for One, which I feel like so many of you are going to be like, finally. This has been on my TBR for such a long time, and it's also specifically on my August TBR. So I was like, oh, this will be perfect. So I picked it up. I started reading it, and at first I was like, yeah, this is cute, like it's a fun little rom-com, nothing too crazy. I've read 2 other Ella Mae's books, and one of them was fine and the other one was not great to me. So I wasn't really expecting too much for Marriage for One. And it's also, tell me why this romance book is 500 pages. Like, why is a romance book 500 pages? Surely not. So I think those 2 factors kind of put me off for a bit, because I was just like, I don't think I'm going to be obsessed. But obviously I wanted to give it a chance. I started it. I thought it was okay. But the more I started reading it, the more I was like, wait, this is really cute. Like, you guys weren't lying when you said this book is really good. And now I am actually 200 pages in. I think it's like 10:30. I'm about to head off to the gym, so I'm taking a bit of a break. But yeah, I hit chapter 13, which is page 209. So I'm a little under halfway, but I have basically just binged this morning. It is making me giggle. It is making me giddy. I am like smiling. It's just really fun time. I've been like underlining stuff. Like, it's really cute. It is so obvious to me that Jack is like obsessed with Rose and she is so oblivious, but it's not in an annoying way, at least to me. Like, I think sometimes when the girl is oblivious that the guy is obsessed with her, it's a bit like, oh my gosh, you're such an idiot. Like, come on. But I feel like he isn't really being too obvious about it. It's really just those little things where you can tell as the reader that he's obsessed. And also, if you love acts of service, like, this book is so good. I'm having a lot of fun with this so far, and I'm excited to keep reading it. After I come back from the gym, we'll see what I'm in the mood for. Maybe I'll go back to Foul Lady Fortune. I'd love to finish both of these today. I don't know if that's a possibility. Today is probably just going to be a big reading day. Apart from the gym, I literally have no plans. So unless something comes up, all I'm going to be doing today is reading and a bit of like editing maybe. As for a time update, we are now at 19 hours and 11 minutes. So I've already done, I don't know, a couple hours this morning. I can't remember where we were at when I started it. But yeah, I would love to finish one of these books today. It depends like what I end up being in the mood for, but I'm gonna head off to the gym, do an upper body session, and then come back and read more, which I'm so excited about. I love being in a big reading mood. Like, all I want to do right now is read, which is just the best feeling. It has been many hours since I last talked to you, but I just finished Foul Lady Fortune and it was so good. I really enjoyed this. I'm just like so shocked at how much I've enjoyed the like secret Shanghai universe, like all of the books that are included in this kind of world. I just didn't expect to enjoy them so much, but they're so fun. Secret identities, like gangs, but like in the 1920s. So there's not really any crazy technology. So it's all very like old school, but it's just really entertaining. I feel like there's a lot going on in these books. I feel like in this book there's even like more action than there was in These Violent Delights and Our Violent Ends. Like, I feel like there's just like a lot going on here. There's a lot of like missions and like spies, and I don't know, it's really, really good. I think I'll probably give this one like 4 stars. It wasn't like my favorite, like it didn't give me those 5-star feelings, but it was still a really fun time. If you are someone who is trying to read your physical TBR, literally just start with one, specifically maybe one that's been on your physical TBR for a while, because I feel like it is just the most satisfying, best feeling once you've read it, which is kind of funny that I'm saying that because Marriage for One has also been on my TBR for a really long time, so it's probably also going to be really satisfying when I finish this. I haven't made any progress on this one, but I feel really good that this one is complete. I also have the little like novella. What is it called? Last Violent Call, which I think from what I've gathered and what I've seen people say, I think it bridges this book with Our Violent Delights a bit. Like, I think it's kind of a combination of 2. I feel like it might be 2 novellas in that one little book. Either way, I want to read that during this 24-hour readathon, hopefully. But as for a time update, on our timer, we have 16 hours and 26 minutes left, which honestly, I'm feeling pretty good. We're almost 10 hours down, I guess. Obviously, I might just continue reading this, or if I'm feeling like a fantasy book or something different, I might pick up another book. I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll keep you guys updated. Guys, this book, it's so good. It's so good. I know. This has been on my TBR cart for literally what, like a year, maybe more? I'm an idiot. I know. I posted like a page of this book where I had underlined something onto my reading Instagram, like on my story. And obviously it was just like a tiny little section of a page. And the amount of replies that I got from that story being like, oh my gosh, you're finally reading Marriage for One. Like, you're reading Marriage for One. I'm so excited. I can tell this is Marriage for One. Like, everyone was so excited that I had finally picked up this book. And I get it. Guys, I get it. I just feel like such an idiot that this was sitting on my TBR cart for so long when so many people were like, Rachel, you need to read this book. It's one of my favorites. Like, the amount of people who like begged me to read this, and I just put it off for so long for quite simply no reason apart from that it's just like long. I've got to apologize. I'm so sorry, guys. I was an idiot. But I just can't believe that this is written by Ella Mays, because I've read 2 other books by her and this feels like a totally different author. Like, those books were not it compared to this. It kind of reminds me of Christina Lauren. Now, this is obviously like personal preference, and I know that not everyone will have the same experience, but for me, I actually don't know how many Christina Lauren books I've read. Maybe like 4 or 5, and I've DNF'd one. And the only one that I really liked was Love and Other Words, which I know is obviously like a crowd pleaser, everyone's favorite. But I read Love and Other Words, and every time I've picked up another Christina Lauren book, I've just been like wishing that I would have the same experience as Love and Other Words, and I've just never had that. Like, none of their books have hit the same way that Love and Other Words hit, and it almost feels like it was a totally different author who wrote Love and Other Words compared to all their other books, because they just don't feel the same. And that's how I feel about this. Like, this book, this is not the same writer as To Love Jason Thorne. Surely not. Like, I'm just shocked. For those of you who have this on your TBR, please go read it. It is so freaking good. It has such a deep emotional connection, which I was not expecting. I was expecting it to be like a rom-com, and I thought it would be quite lusty. And yes, obviously there's the physical attraction element to it, but it is so much deeper than that. And the relationship and the emotional connection and the the relationship that these characters have is so beautiful. If you like subtle kind of small acts of service and like subtle little things that the characters will do for each other, like, you will love this. I feel like this book is full of just like those little tiny moments where one character is doing something small or saying something small or looking at them a certain way. It's not like these huge extravagant crazy things, but I think that's like my favorite type of thing, when it's just those little moments. Those are the ones that really get me. Also, Raymond. I love him. I love Raymond. But anyway, I'm up to page 350. This is a 500-page book, so I have 150 pages left. It is 7:42. I have been reading this, not all day, because obviously I read Foul Lady Fortune, but like, I think I potentially could finish or get close to finishing this book today. And the fact that I could finish a 500-page book in one day, I mean, yes, I'm filming a 24-hour readathon, so that does definitely like make a difference, but I just did not expect that I would love this book as much as I'm loving it, and I just want to sit and binge it. But I need to go shower, so I'm gonna go do that and then get cozy in bed and keep reading. Are you ever reading a book and you get so like caught up in it and so lost in it, specifically a romance, that you forget that there's going to be a conflict? Because that just happened to me. I was so caught up in this book, just loving it, so invested, just like felt like I was really in it. And then something happened and I was like, oh, like, not everything is rainbows, sunshine and butterflies. Like, I forgot that this is a romance book, and in almost every romance book there's going to be that third act conflict of some kind, and we just got to that point and I was like, oh, I just forgot, and now I'm so sad about it. 'Cause I was just having so much fun and everything was going so well, and then conflict. Anyways, I just got to get through some conflict pages and we can hopefully end on a high note, because I have less than 100 pages to go. So I need a happily ever after ASAP, please. I just finished Marriage for One. It was so good. I know I've said that like a million times. It is 9:45. I'm not tired at all. which is bizarre. Timer update. This is where we're ending off today. 13 hours and 32 minutes left. So we've read for just over 10 hours, which is good. That's 2 days worth of reading. I've read a lot today, but we did finish 2 books, so that's fair enough. I don't really know what I'm going to pick up next. I don't know if I'm going to pick up anything else tonight. I might just let myself chill out till tomorrow. But wow, Marriage for One. So good. If I'm being honest, I do think this is one of those books where I was just in the perfect mood to read it right now. And I think if I wasn't in the exact mood that I am in right now, it probably wouldn't have hit the same. And I don't know how to explain that, but hopefully that's making sense. There have been a few books where I felt like that. I know Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman, I felt the same. Like, I knew the book wasn't necessarily the most amazing book to ever exist, or like the most amazing romance to ever exist, but it just hit. That day when I was reading it, I just couldn't put it down. It was so bingeable and it was just like perfect for what I wanted at that moment. And today, picking up Marriage for One, it just hit. And it wasn't too cringy, it wasn't cheesy. The guy was just the perfect amount of grumpy, the girl was just the perfect amount of sunshine. The quotes were hitting, I was annotating, like it was good. It was really, really good. I think if I had to rate it right now, I'd probably give it like a 4.5. Honestly, it's really teetering on a 5 stars, but I'm just like, is it just because I'm like so excited right now? Like, I'm probably just gonna let myself like settle and like see what I think in the next couple days. But I would say probably 4.5, but I wouldn't be surprised if I bump it up to a 5 if I like can't stop thinking about it over the next few days. But yeah, I annotated so much of this book. I'm gonna go back through and put tabs on all the quotes that I underlined, because I like underlined things but I didn't tab it, so I think I'm gonna go back through and tab. As much as I'm mad that I didn't pick it up earlier because I had such a good time reading it, I also am glad that I picked it up today, because I think, like I said, I was just in the perfect mood to read it, and if I'd picked it up on another day, maybe I wouldn't have been in the perfect mood. So yeah, I'm just very happy about this one. Ella Mays, write more books like this, please, I'm begging you. Now that I know you can do this, why aren't all your books like this? That's all I want to know. Good morning, guys. It is now 2 days later. I didn't vlog anything yesterday, and I honestly didn't do that much reading. I just had a bit of a busier day. I can't remember exactly what the timer was at, but I think I read for about an hour and a half or something yesterday, and most of that was spent starting my reread of Crown of Midnight. But I did also start Last Violent Call by Chloe Gong, which is a collection of 2 short stories, or 2 novellas, I guess, and these stories link These Violent Delights Now Violent Ends to Foul Lady Fortune and the next book that's coming in that series. So it's like a kind of in-between thing, but this is what I'm up to in the series. And I've also done a bit of reading this morning. What's our timer looking like now? We are at 10 hours and 43 minutes, so that means we are like a little over halfway through our readathon. This is gonna be like a 10-day readathon at this point. I think we're on day 4. I would love to finish the readathon like tomorrow, but can I do 10.5 hours of reading in 2 days? Potentially. Anyways, not the point. I've continued reading this morning, and I've just finished the first little short story, so I'm like halfway through, and I'm about to start the second short story, which follows different characters. The first story follows 2 characters from These Violent Delights Now Violent Ends, and then the second short story follows 2 other characters. And I can't really say what this book is about because it is just like major spoilers for the entire series, really, but it's really good and I'm really enjoying it. In saying that, it's not going to be like a 5-star because it's just like a short story or like novella or whatever, but I'm having a good time with it, so I'm excited to like maybe finish this hopefully kind of soon, and then I guess we'll see what we pick up next. I'm up to page 190, so I have like 30 or 40 pages left. So I've made myself a coffee and the timer is back on. Good morning, my sweet angel besties. It's a new day, same readathon. It is 9 a.m. Today, I would love to make a huge dent in our timer. This is how much we have left, 9 hours, 47 minutes. Am I gonna be able to read for 10 hours today? Not a chance. But can I maybe half this? I don't know. That still might be too much, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Yesterday, we finished Last Violent Call. I also did a little bit more reading, not a lot though. I listened to a little bit more of Crown of Midnight, so I think I'm like, I don't know, maybe 30% of the way through that at the moment. And I've also started a new book. This is Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. This is also on my August TBR. I have this book and one other book left on my TBR for the month. So we have accomplished our goal so far in terms of like working through the monthly TBR, and we've also read quite a few on my physical TBR as well, which is stunning. I would love to finish this today. Is that possible? Potentially. I don't know. I think I'm only like 60 pages into this, maybe 66 pages, but I'm enjoying it so far. I'm kind of shocked at how much I'm enjoying it because I heard a lot of very mediocre reviews about this, and to be fair, it still might end up being mediocre, but I'm enjoying the writing and the plot so far. The vibe of it is just kind of fun. From what I've gathered so far, we have a couple who were together like 10 years ago. The girl lives on this, I don't even know like what you'd call it. Is it a ranch? She lives kind of rural and she falls in love with this guy. He comes to live with her. I think they date like 5 months, and then he just leaves one day and never comes back. She knows why he needs to leave, but he's like, oh, I'll call you, and then he just doesn't. And so she calls him like a few days after he leaves, and he's just like, I can't talk right now, and that's the last time they speak. No explanation. Now it is 10 years later, and this guy has shown up on this like horse riding tour that the main girl runs. His friends booked it for their like annual boys trip kind of thing, and he turns up. He realizes that she is who she is. She realizes that he is who he is, and I've only just gotten to the point where they're kind of like, oh my gosh, I know who you are. So they've like made eye contact and they've like had that internal realization, but they haven't like spoken about it yet. So I'm very intrigued to see how that's gonna go. But the whole like horse riding, ranchy, kind of cowboy-esque vibe is very fun. I've heard that this is like not the best romance, but it's more of like an adventure book with a side of romance, which I think a lot of people were annoyed that it was like marketed as a romance and the romance was more of a side plot. But I guess because I'm going into it with that knowledge, maybe I'll be able to enjoy it for what it is. We'll see. I feel like an adventure plot is going to be really fun. There's also like treasure hunting, I think, which sounds really fun. So I'll keep you updated, but I'm going to try and get through some of this today. Just so you guys are aware, I have decided to imagine our male main character as Chris Briney, the guy who plays Conrad in The Summer I Turned Pretty, because I may or may not have just been watching a bunch of interviews with him, and in this book the main character is described as like a bit of like a silent, mysterious type, so I'm like, oh, it's Conrad, obviously. So that is who I'm imagining as our love interest. I don't really know who I'm imagining for our female main character currently. I haven't decided. Team Conrad, that's all I'll say about that. This book just took the weirdest turn. I definitely wasn't expecting that. I'm intrigued to see where the story goes because I feel like the whole plot just switched. What the heck? What is going on? This book just keeps getting weirder and weirder. I'm so confused. Like, this book is trying to be a rom-com, but there are some pretty serious things going on right now. Like, it's not giving rom-com, but then there'll be like a joke shoved in there. And it's like, no. I'm still sitting in the same spot, but I'm at page 200 now, and so that means we have, oh, it's longer than I thought, 162 pages left. Am I enjoying it? Yeah. Is it so random? Yeah. Like, I'm kind of confused about the storyline of this, but it's kind of fun. Like, I'm not gonna complain about it. It's just like, I'm not obsessed. I finished Something Wilder by Christina Lauren, and although I wasn't obsessed with it, I still think it was a lot of fun. It was so random, but like, it was fun. I had a good time. I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars because it definitely wasn't bad, but it's just one of those books that I don't think I'll ever think about again. Like, I'm gonna put it on my shelf and I don't think I'll think about the characters or the plot at all, apart from just being like, wow, that was such a random rom-com that I read. But I am so glad this is off my physical TBR because it has been on there for so long. And for our timer, we just made it to the 7-hour mark. So we are over 2/3 of the way through, 7 hours left, or technically 6 hours and 58 minutes if we want to be specific. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to continue with now. Maybe Crown of Midnight, maybe I'll start a new book, but I'll update you guys when I make a decision. Good morning guys, it is now the next day and I have some updates for you. First of all, look at my new sweatshirt. It says, how's the weather park? It's so cool! This came in a package that I opened last night and I literally squealed and like jumped around when I opened it. I was so excited. It's from Books with Jess. She literally sent it to me in a surprise package. I am so grateful and so thankful. I had it in my cart and I was like umming and ahhing whether I should get it because I was like, oh, I don't know. Do I need it? I really want it, but like, do I need it? And it was just like sitting in my cart and then she sent it to me and I just couldn't be happier. I haven't taken it off since I opened the package and it just makes me so happy. I'll leave her store link down below. She is literally the sweetest. She is an Australian girly as well. So we love supporting Australian small businesses. So definitely check her stuff out. She also has a lot of stickers. All of my Kindle stickers are from her Etsy store. So I'm obsessed with her. Love her. Thank you so much, Jess. As for actual reading updates, you guys saw I finished Crown of Midnight yesterday, which was so good. I know this is only the second book in my Throne of Glass reread, but I honestly think this reread is making me realize like how much I love Throne of Glass. Like I thought I loved it the first time, but upon a reread, I'm just like, no, I love this series. Like it's making me so happy. And you know you love a series when you're reading your least favorite book in that series and you're still having a great time. Like this is probably my least favorite book in the series, along with Assassin's Blade, unfortunately, which like sucks that they're near the start because like you kind of have to slog through a couple not so great books to get to the really great books. But I do think it's worth it. I honestly think Throne of Glass is really fun, and then Crown of Midnight is like fine, and Assassin's Blade is fine, and then Heir of Fire is like where it really starts to get good in my opinion. But doing this reread has made me realize how necessary this book is to the plot and like to the rest of the series. I would say the main point of Crown of Midnight is kind of establishing a lot of world building and backstory and introduction and history, I guess. Like you get a lot of history about the world and the lands and the magic and stuff in this book, so it is very necessary to the rest of the series. But when you're actually reading it, it just doesn't feel like there's a super strong plot. But now that I'm doing the reread, I'm like, oh, they needed to include that sort of information somewhere, and it makes sense that it's in this book. And I will say the last 100 pages of this book are fantastic. Like I really enjoyed those, but the start of it just feels like a bit like, oh, okay, she's just like doing this and doing that, and it's like whatever. So yeah, personally, it's not my favorite book in the series. And next I need to pick up Assassin's Blade, which is also not my favorite, but I enjoyed this more than I did the first time, and I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to. So hopefully I feel the same when I end up picking up Assassin's Blade. I don't know when that will be, but yeah, this was super fun and so much foreshadowing. Like now that I'm doing a reread, I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I miss all of these clues and information and stuff like that? But yeah, really enjoying this. And then obviously I needed to pick up another book, and so I randomly just picked up this one from my TBR cart, which I haven't heard anything about. I just picked it up in a random bookstore on a random day, like very much an impulse buy, which I don't know why I bought it, to be honest. Like I must have just been in a book buying mood, but it's called On a Night Like This by Lindsay Kelk, and I just thought it had a cute cover, and I read the back and it sounded fun. I think it is a loose retelling of Cinderella, which is kind of fun, but it's basically about a girl who works as a personal assistant, and she has been assigned to a really famous singer, and that singer is kind of hard to work for. Like she's just kind of difficult, and we're just following this assistant as she tries her very best to do what this famous person wants her to do, but it's just really hard for her, and it's just really funny and like silly. Bit of a silly, goofy book, I guess. I'm 200 pages in and I have an hour and a half left on our timer, so we're definitely gonna finish this readathon today, which I'm excited about. Do I think this is gonna be a 5-star? No. I think this is supposed to be a rom-com, and like I said, I just made it to like the 200 page mark and we have just met our love interest, and this book is 330 pages long, so there's not a lot of rom happening in this rom-com. I'm still having fun with it, like I'm not mad about it, but I'm just kind of confused. Like I thought this was a romance book, and maybe it's more of like a chick lit with some romance in there, you know, but we'll see. I'm hoping I can finish this pretty quickly and also finish this timer kind of quickly. We'll see how we go. I took a bit of a break, went to the gym, but I'm back and it's time to finish the last half an hour of my readathon. I think I have like 60 pages left or something, so let's do this. We have 33 minutes and 58 seconds left on our timer, guys. But also my phone is about to die. I don't know if it's gonna make it 33 minutes, but we'll see. I just need the timer to last me. Perfect timing. I just finished this book and the timer just went off, so 24-hour readathon complete. I thought I would just end off this video by quickly recapping what we read and what I thought about it. And when I was pulling the books out of my bookshelf to film this little recap, I was like, what? We read all of these books in this 24-hour readathon. Like, I think this is kind of a record for me in terms of 24-hour readathons. Like, I'm a little bit in shock. But let's also remember that 2 of these I had like already started when this readathon started. So let's quickly run through what I read. We started off with This Time It's Real by Anne Liang. I really loved this. It was so much fun. I gave it 4 stars. I think it's just like a classic feel-good YA romance. I don't know if everyone will love it. It might be a bit cringy for some people, but I personally just had a lot of fun. It made me giggle, it made me smile, and that's all I wanted it to do, so 4 stars. I also finished Foul Lady Fortune and Last Violent Call. Again, I really enjoyed both of these. They are both part of the Secret Shanghai series. I still would recommend reading These Violent Delights and Our Violent Ends before reading these. I think it's just like so worth it, and you get just so much more of the story. But these were action-packed. I love the gangs, I love the secret identities, I loved the romance, marriage of convenience. Like, honestly, so good. 4 stars for this one, 3 stars for this one, but it's only a novella, so I find it kind of hard to rate novellas any higher than 3 stars, but definitely worth the read if you're doing like the whole series. Marriage for One was such a pleasant surprise. I know you guys have been telling me to read this book for probably years at this point, but I finally did it and I had so much fun. 4.5 stars. I haven't necessarily been like thinking about it since I finished it. Like, it hasn't been one of those ones where I just like can't stop thinking about the characters, can't stop thinking about the plot, but I had so much fun while I was reading this and just like really loved every minute of it. While I was reading, even though it's 500 pages, it didn't feel like 500 pages. It really didn't. Definitely recommend. Then I picked up Something Wild by Christina Lauren. This was so random. I feel like it started off very strong, but it kind of lost me along the way. I feel like the plot just went in a few different directions, and I don't want to say it felt messy because the plot directions that it took I think were the intention, but as a reader going into it, it just felt like we were a bit like this and then this and then this. But in saying that, I did still have fun and I still enjoyed it, but again, I think I'm just going to put it on my shelf and probably never think about it again. So it's like a 3-star read. I had fun while I was reading it, but it wouldn't be like at the top of my recommendations list. Crown of Midnight, so good. This is a reread for me, and I'm just loving my Throne of Glass reread so much. When I did my ACOTAR reread, I was like, okay, I think ACOTAR is my favorite series by Sarah J Maas, but now that I'm doing my Throne of Glass reread, I'm like, actually, I think Throne of Glass is my favorite. And like, I don't know, maybe I'll continue to keep changing my mind, especially because Throne of Glass is like finished, but ACOTAR is still going, and I mean Crescent City is still going as well, so like maybe I'll change my mind in the future. But I think for now, Throne of Glass has my favorite characters and my favorite plot. I think I might be a Throne of Glass girly overall. I love them all, don't get me wrong, but I just forgot how good Throne of Glass is, so this was incredible. 5 stars. I know I said it's like my least favorite in the series, but I think every book that I do in this reread is going to end up being 5 stars, just being honest. And then lastly, I picked up On a Night Like This by Lindsay Kelk, and again, had so much fun with this. It definitely felt more of like a chick lit with a little bit of romance compared to just like romance. I just like had fun while reading this. Like, it was just a great reading experience. I think I'd give this maybe like a 3.75. I don't know if it was quite 4 stars for me, but also I think it's better than 3 stars. So like maybe 3.5 or 3.75. I honestly think it's worth a read, and also no spice if that's your thing. So I don't really hear anyone talk about this. So if you're just looking for something like feel good, lighthearted, a bit of fun, not a crazy romance, but still like a cute romance, I definitely recommend. But those are all of the books that I read in this 24-hour readathon. In saying that, I think I've been filming this for like almost a week, I want to say. Yeah, I read for 6 days and we read 7 books in 6 days, so I'm very happy about that. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed filming it. I definitely need to film more of these. I need to like get back on my once a month grind because it genuinely is just so fun to me. And also, I've already started editing this and it is a chatty one, so if you guys enjoyed the longer videos, let me know if you enjoy longer or shorter videos, because I really don't know what the preference is. But I love you guys so much. I hope you have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.